First and goal inside the 1. 8 seconds to go. Steelers down by 3. Ben gets the snap, rolls right. He looks, he runs, he dives. He's in!
He's in!
He's in! He's got a touchdown! Ben has a touchdown! Rolling right. What a play call at the goal line.
Billy, it was set up to be a shuffle pass to Vance McDonald. Vance was covered. Ben does a great job of tucking it and running it and getting into the end zone.
All right, of course, that was our very own Tunch Ilkin and Bill Hillgrove on the call. And last week we said Labs didn't have a heart attack in that nice win against the Panthers. I can confirm he is here today, but might have almost had a heart attack in Jacksonville. Welcome to Steelers Live as we recap the Steelers' crazy win over the Jaguars on Sunday. Bob Labriola and Tunch Ilkin are here. And Tunch, we know you have Chalk Talk coming up. We're going to go through that entire game-winning drive. That's probably when Labs was about to lose it. And we have to start by talking about Ben.
Yeah. You know what? During the broadcast, I kept saying this, that most quarterbacks, when they play the first half the way Ben played, they tank. Emotionally, mentally, they just tank. You could see it in their eyes. They look like a brook trout that's belly up when you catch it. Not Ben. Ben always feels like he's going to turn the game around, and he is capable of pulling out of his funk, and he did it again with his, 42nd come from behind victory or something like that.
41st in the regular season,
yeah.
45 if you count the post.
So think about that. I mean, he got it together with 1 minute and 31 seconds left in the third quarter. The bombs away to AB, and then he settled down after that. And it was really good to watch. And when you have Ben, you know this, whether you're a broadcaster, you're a teammate, you're a coach, or a fan, you know you're always in it. And for all those fans that were getting ready to dog Ben because he had and he didn't play very well the first 3 quarters, but all of a sudden he broke out of it to win this football game.
Yeah, I mean,
Labs is still a little speechless.
No, I mean, I live in my fears. I mean, that's a well-known fact. I did not have the kind of faith that Tunch had. And I'm not directing that at any player in particular. I just thought that the Jaguars' defense. I don't know if it's a bad matchup or whatever it was, but. 2 areas I think that the Jaguars are strong on defense, their front 4 and their cornerbacks. And I just thought that those guys, collectively, those 2 units were having a really good day. And, I've been to Steelers games in Jacksonville with far better teams than the Jaguars were able to put on the field on those particular days and left there disappointed. So, it's not a fun place to be, and I was just prepared mentally for a bad ending. And I'll tell you what, though, I will say this. If you had any confidence that those officials were going to make the correct call on that review of Ben's touchdown, you got a whole lot more faith in me.
I had
it didn't matter to me.
Because people don't understand that you just got to cross the beginning
so
of the
did
goal
Jesse
line.
James.
Right.
Yeah,
but
that's all I'm saying. What it is and what they call are 2 different things.
When they kept replaying it, I was confident it was going to be a touchdown. It was going to be a touchdown. There was no doubt in my mind. It was. You're watching him right here. He dives in. The ball's already over. The knee doesn't come down. He does a great job of laying himself out.
Well, yeah.
He becomes flat Ben.
And the thing is, it's the first part of the chalk line.
Right.
It's not, you don't have to get it over.
Right.
And it clearly showed on the one replay when his knee touches right there, the ball is already across the front part of the goal line. So yes, there was no doubt in my mind what it was.
Yeah.
I was worried about
the only thing I was yelling at, I was saying, Matty, get out of the hole.
Yeah, Ben said he joked with Matt Filer a little bit on that one. He did.
Yeah.
So, all right. We're going to talk about the game-winning drive coming up in Chalk Talk in just a bit, but we have to talk about what went so wrong in the first half. Mainly the 3 quarters. It was until the first of 2 halves for Ben Roethlisberger in the offense. Why weren't they clicking at all, Tunch?
I don't know. Missy, I can't give you an answer, but they were missing. They were. It looked disjointed. They didn't look like they were on the same page. Maybe it was the 10 days from the Thursday night game to the Sunday game. For whatever reason, we play better when we play every week. When we're on that 7-day cycle, and I think maybe there was some of that. And also. I said this last week. The Jacksonville Jags are a desperate team, and they played with that desperation. And when they played with that desperation, they did a great job of taking the ball away, and Ben was a little off. I don't know if Ben's got like a tweak or something going on in his body, but he just, he was not throwing the ball well. And
there were some drops.
Yeah, there was some. And his buddies didn't help him out, and he got hit a couple times. But all of a sudden, he makes it happen, and that's the beauty of Ben. He can always make it happen.
I think that as this season progresses, what I've come to believe is that the running game, even though you have Ben and you have AB and Juju Smith-Schuster and Vance McDonald, et cetera, I really believe that this Steelers offense needs to be able to run the football, and they were not able to do that. Again, going back to what I had said earlier about the Jaguars' defensive line, and it's a good unit, and I thought it was playing pretty well. I just think that if the Steelers cannot run the football the way they could not run it against Jacksonville, their offense is going to struggle.
One of the things too, though, Labs, you got to remember this is if the Steelers aren't running the ball well, that Ben can bail you out. And so I think there is a mentality that says, let's put it on Ben's shoulders. Like, you look at the other side of the field, Blake Bortles, when in the fourth quarter, those 4 drives in a row that were 3 and out, when they couldn't run the ball, they were afraid to put the ball in Blake Bortles' hands. Now, number one, it was because of the protection. They were on their 4th left tackle. They were on their 2nd center, their 2nd right guard. And the Steelers did a great job of rushing the passer. They got, 5 sacks and hit him about 6 other times. So they're not going to do that. That's why they stay patient with the run, and that's why we don't, because we said, hey, Ben, the golden arm, take over.
As Coach Tomlin said after the game yesterday, when you have 7, you always have a chance. And Tunch mentioned it a little bit earlier. This was Ben's 41st game-winning drive. Coming back, he has passed John Elway, now 6th in the league. Let me just mention the names really quick. Peyton Manning has 54, Dan Marino 47, Drew Brees 45, Tom Brady 44, Brett Favre 43, and then Ben Roethlisberger, as I said, 41, John Elway.
You know what?
40.
And Danny Marino beat us in the AFC Championship game with one of those, and John Elway beat us in the division, 4th quarter comeback. Yeah, in the divisional round.
I thought that 84 championship game was like 100 to
45
60.
to 28. But
Well,
they pushed past us after we were leading. And then Elway in Denver on the big Merrill Hodge game when he had 140 yards rushing.
The Mark Stock game.
And then the game in '82 when Dan Fouts beat us here.
He's not on the list.
Yeah, he's not on the list. Man, I'll tell you what, I've gotten beat by 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks in crucial playoff situations, which I thought years that we were going to the Super Bowl, and we ended up not having any of it.
All right. Well, congrats to Big Ben for that achievement of passing his childhood idol, Elway.
Do I sound bitter?
Just
No,
a little bit, Tunch,
no.
but we need you to stay in your happy place because we're going to take a quick break. When we return, Chalk Talk of the game-winning drive. All right, well, we certainly cannot get enough of the game-winning drive from yesterday in Jacksonville. A little bit of technical difficulties today, but Tunch, you're a pro. I know you got this, so I'm going to let you take over. Take us through it and what we need to know.
All right, we're not going to have any lines, but this is the big play to Juju down the sideline. Now, if you look to the left, the Steelers got trips to the left. They've got Vance McDonald lining up at the H-back. He is going to run a flag route, and then you're going to see Ryan Switzer here. He's going to run an in-cut. and then Juju's going to run up the field, and he's going to give J.J. Boyer a little stutter step, and Boyer is going to bite on it. And so we're going to take a look at that right now. Watch this right here. He bites on. These guys are very aggressive, both Boyer and Jalen Ramsey. They're going to bite on short routes. Boyer jumps the route, and now, you know the old saying I like to say here, if I'm even, I'm leaving. Now watch the protection on this, because they're going to run a twist game. Now, watch Calais Campbell. He's going to come up into this gap, and then he's going to spin back to the inside. Malik Jackson is going to loop around. Watch the way David DeCastro, Marquise Pouncey, and Ramon Foster jam it all up, so Ben's got plenty of time at the snap of the ball. Right there. Great spin. Look at that. Great spin. Come bring it back. Got a great spin. It's coming to the inside. Watch the way David drives him down on the ground. And then Marquise feels him. He puts him down. Calais Campbell has nowhere to loop around. Ben just throws it out, and A.J. Boyer he's nowhere to be seen. And and look at that catch. I want to show you that catch again. The catch by Juju. Watch the body control here. Look at the way he goes up, twists his body, and comes down and doesn't drop the ball. That was great body control. We're going to go through this one. That was James Conner's drop. But now we're coming to this is AB's catch down the middle of the field. Now, AB is going to run a little, with Vance McDonald. Vance McDonald's going to come out here and run a little rub route on Jalen Ramsey, and AB is going to run a slant this way. Watch Ryan Switzer, because he's got a lot more speed than everyone thinks he is, and then Juju's going to run a comeback. Now, watch that. Look at that great pick. Now, it's called a rub route. That's not a pick. That was Jalen Ramsey running into Vance McDonald. Now, here goes AB, and he makes the catch. Now, watch the way Jalen Ramsey gets up. He goes, wait a second. That's not fair. That's not fair. Look at what happened to me. I got picked. Well, you got rubbed, and a pick would be illegal. Ben and AB gets it down to the 2. We're going to take a look at the end zone of another. Watch, they overload to this side, and this time you're going to see Malik Jackson going to be the penetrator. He's going to run in between Ramon and Marquise, and Calais Campbell is going to be the loop guy. Great job by these two, and by David DeCastro picking it up. And by the way, they got 5 bigs, so they brought in Miles Jack here. He is way outside, and Dwayne Smoot is this guy. So what they're trying to do is put every guy, all 5 guys, on an island, and then they're going to run the twist, because normally they get penetration. They do a great job of staying outside and making you turn, and that way you give them a two-way goal. But the offensive line does a great job. Great job by Al. He's already stopped the upfield rush by Yannick Ngakoue. Great job by Matt Filer. Look at this right here. Pounce does a great job of jamming it. Picks up Malik Jackson, plenty of time, and there goes AB. And once again, I love to see this. Jalen Ramsey complaining. Nothing does my heart more good than that. And so then we're going to get to the touchdown pass. Now here's the play. They are going to run a shuffle pass. Ramon Foster is going to pull out here, and Yannick Ngakoue is going to crash. Now Yannick Ngakoue is the guy that Ben is going to option off of. So you're going to watch Ramon pass Yannick and block this guy right here. Everyone else is going to block down, and watch Vance McDonald come from over here, the start of the ball. Now, right now, Yannick Ngakoue has taken Vance out of the play. And so the second guy option is James Conner. Now, the problem is Telvin Smith has got him. Now, here comes Miles Jack, and he does a great job of tackling. Now, Matt Filer, who was blocking him, turned him loose, but gets out of the way. The ball crosses the goal line. It is a touchdown. We're going to watch one more look at this, because it is priceless from the end zone. You're going to see everybody. Now, watch. He's going to cut back. Let's go. At the snap of the ball. Great job. Nowhere to go here. and now he just takes it and runs. And Ben is pretty spry. What is he, 36? He's pretty spry for
15
36.
season, not bad, right?
Not bad.
All right, we still have to talk about the Steelers' defense and their performance yesterday in Jacksonville. We'll do that right after the break.
I also tip the cap to our defense. They were put in some tough situations. They were out there a lot of snaps, and they didn't blink. And they held the fort until our offense got going, and then obviously with 7, you got a chance.
TJ Watt, Javon Hargrave, Cam Tuitt, a lot to talk about in terms of the Steelers defense. As Coach Tomlin said, Labs and Tunch are back to do just that. I know we had to talk about Ben, especially with the game-winning drive, but what the defense was able to do holding Jacksonville to field goals could have been a lot worse, especially in the first half.
You know, Missy, I must confess that I wasn't noticing that they didn't allow them to score touchdowns. I was very disappointed at the way they were running the ball up and down the field. In retrospect, I said, wow, they held them to field goals. But early in the half, watching Leonard Fournette run the way he did, it looked like he just picked up from the divisional round last year. And, you know, I really thought the defense was going to come to play. And even TJ Yeldon had some decent runs. But the defense, and then their second leading rusher, of course, is Blake Bortles, and he does a nice job of spinning out of Javon Hargrave. But you know, one of the things that Blake Bortles and the Jags really helped us on, he did not run any options where he kept the ball. I kept saying on the air, I go, we got to watch the option, because he's one of these times, he's going to pull it. And everybody's collapsing on Leonard Fournette, and I understand that. But one of these times, he's going to pull it down the stretch. I thought on third down, their last 3 and out, I thought he was going to pull it. And if you looked the way Bud crashed on the outside, there was a ton of green, and he'd still be running out there. One of the things that the Steelers did, too, when they went through their jumbo look, their 2 tight ends and a fullback, or 3 tight ends and a fullback, they started bringing Jordan Dangerfield in. And Jordan's a safety, but they play him at the corner position. Now, what his addition to the defense brings one more physical tackler, and he'd come off the edge, and he was one of those guys that would set the edge, and he did a great job of it, not getting hooked, playing from the outside in, and that's what you got to do. And he got in on 2 tackles, and he showed his physicality, jumped. You know, he had a couple of JOPs, jump on the piles, but that's what you want. But I thought the way they used him was very good. And so, you know, are those adjustments? Yeah, kind of. But what they're saying was, also in the first half, they ran a lot of twists, and they ran a lot of blitzes. A few times when they ran the twists. And, you know, they ran a hands game, what we used to call, or a palms game, where the nose tackle would loop around. It was like the Steelers got caught going away from the running back, and that got hurt. And the technique wasn't always that great. But in the fourth quarter, all of a sudden the guys said, all right, we're shutting it off. And they did. And once again, they rose to the occasion. They didn't tank, and especially because of the heat, because of the sunshine. Thankfully, it got cloudy as the game went on. But all of a sudden, you see those guys, 11 guys swarming to the ball, and it was a great finish to a game that started out where you kept going, oh my gosh, they're running the ball on us again.
Well, one of the plans, you know, was similar. The part of the defensive plan was similar to what the Steelers did against the Carolina Panthers. Now, I'm saying this understanding that Blake Bortles and Cam Newton are vastly different players, but the plan was similar in that the Steelers went after the quarterback in each situation. You know, Blake Bortles had 104 yards passing. When you subtract the 40 yards in sacks, that's 64 yards net passing. The Steelers made the determination that while, you know, the last year the Jaguars ran the ball successfully, what really hurt them in those games were a couple of plays in each where Blake Bortles made big plays passing. They decided that was not going to happen in this game, And you could see every time he went back to pass, it was like a jailbreak. I mean, he was running for his life, sometimes turtling for his life.
Right.
And I think that what happened then was the Jaguars just made the determination that we can't throw the ball.
Yeah.
And once you get to that point in an NFL game, you can run. This isn't, the NFL isn't the old Southwest Conference where, you can have 40 yards passing and expect to win the game. Because once you get down into the red zone and stuff, it's harder to run the football, and the Jaguars were settling for field goals. And so, the statistics looked good for Leonard Fournette and the Jaguars rushing attack, but when you break it down and examine it and see how effective it was in terms of points scored, it wasn't that effective. And so I think the strategy worked because Jacksonville ran the ball and there was a lot of cosmetic stuff, but every time he went back to pass, this is the kind of stuff that happened, put him in behind the chains, and then you get in a situation where you cannot continue to run the ball and move the sticks.
And you know what, Bob? I mean, they ran all they ran was the inside zone. They ran a couple of counter traps, and they ran a couple of wham blocks. I mean, they're very, very basic. They came out and said, we're going to come at you. And you know why we're going to come at you? Because our offensive line can't pass block. They cannot pass block. They're on their second team center, their second team right guard, their fourth team left tackle, and Eric Flowers, they got off the street. And so the Steelers did a great job. There was a jailbreak every time he threw the ball, especially in the second half. And the one thing about that we noticed about Blake Bortles, and I think I brought it up on the show on Thursday, is he's throwing everything short. I mean, I think his average yardage attempt was something like 2.7. I mean, it's terrible. I mean, he cannot throw the ball downfield anymore, or at least they're not letting him throw the ball downfield. Maybe it's the protection, maybe it's the design of the play, but they came out and they said, we're going to run the ball on you. And it took a while for the Steelers to adjust. And when I say adjust, it's not like make changes, but play your gap, play disciplined, and play with good technique.
All right, Labs and Tunch, thanks for joining me for this victory edition of Steelers Live. That's going to do it for today. Don't forget Coach Tomlin's press conference tomorrow at noon. We'll be back at 4 with a brand new edition of Steelers Live. Have a great night, everybody.